Hello and welcome. Today we will be taking a look at a couple different Spider-Man villains on retro cards. This is actually the first video I'm doing on comic Marvel Legends / animated Marvel Legends. So without further ado, let's get these guys opened up. Starting with the Chameleon. First looks at a box, and as far as accessories go, he comes with this alternate pair of fists, this crazy sculpted J. Jonah Jameson mask, this kind of cartoony pistol, and then this kind of cartoony shotgun type of looking weapon that actually both of these also came in a different color with the Agent Venom from the same wave. So looking at the figure itself, I think it looks pretty good. It looks a lot like he did in the show because this is based off the animated series, so yeah, looks just like him. He's got these shoulder pad things. They're on a O-ring, but they feel like the plastic is not very good quality. You can see they're all warped. And hot water might fix it, or heating it up somehow. But yeah, you can see it comes out like that. But yeah, it's all bent and warped and misshapen. But it does move back with the arm because it's O-ring. So for articulation, you can look up that much. He's very limited by this. It's actually loose, but this collar piece down that much, still limited. This will definitely affect the torso, I think. Yeah, I can get back that far, forward that far. The arms go out. Double joint, so of course they get really good movement. There is a no swivel at the cuff. You got his hand swivels. Of course, you get the waist swivel. Then the legs can go this far out, so he can definitely do the splits. You got the thigh swivel. Double jointed, so of course he can go really good. And yeah, that goes really good. Really far back. And then of course there is actually a swivel at the thigh. But the feet are extremely limited. You get next to no movement out of them. Even swivel, I mean, you can get a decent amount of side to side, but it's definitely, you can't go forward or back barely at all. As far as swapping hands, you just like any other figure, rip that out, stick the other one in, phone going, and ta-da. Now for putting the mask in his hand, you can see it's indented right there. So it kind of has a grip. You stick that right under the two fingers and it just barely clutches it. Move it around, it grips it decent. That is pretty much as far as you're going to get the arms to go in. And of course you just stick the gun in there like so. I personally like this figure. I like the color scheme of it. I like how good the face print is. I like how accurate it is to the animated series. The articulation is pretty standard for Marvel Legends. If you are a big fan of the animated series, I would say this is definitely a must-have for you. But he definitely works for just a generic Spider-Man or Spider-Man villain display. So yes, if you are a Spidey fan, I definitely recommend getting this figure. Time for Tombstone. So here he is out of box. You get a swappable pair of fists. His crowbar. And then this swappable head with the peg. It's just one solid piece, so there's no separate head from the neck. So for the figure itself, I think the face is really good. And on the swappable one, these are printed really well. Really solid likeness. So for articulation, because of the head system, he can only go that far up and that far down, which kind of sucks. Yeah, there's not much range for that. His arms go out that far. Of course, double joints, so really good movement. Of course, the hinge at the hand. This piece is definitely going to hinder the movement. Yeah, there's next to no movement. There is there swivel? There is a slight swivel, but that still gets in the way. Yeah. For his legs, of course, because of that jacket piece, that's as far as his legs go out. Double joints, so really good bend. As far as feet go, they're definitely very limited. There's next to no movement going forward or backward. It's just slight swivel. So for the head, you rip this head out just like that. You can see the socket in there. Grab this one, stick it right in. I have to apply a lot of force up, not too much. And there, that's what he looks like. Still not any improvements for range of movement, but yeah. Of course, you just slide the crowbar right in. And ta-da. And so for the hands, just pull that right out. Stick the fist in there. Goes right in. I think this is a really cool figure. I really like the character of Tombstone. And I really like how Hasbro did this figure, even though the articulation isn't the best. I think he has a really good likeness to the source material. And I think he'd be an awesome addition to any Spider-Man or Spider-Man villain display, especially if you have him right next to the new Gamerverse Kingpin. Or he could even pass as across the Spider-Verse figure, because he looks nearly identical to how he looked in that movie. Definitely a worthy pickup. Time for Tarantula. Definitely not much to cover this guy. He doesn't come with a single accessory, which I think is ridiculous. It should at least have like a pair of chopping hands or something, but here he is up close. Pretty good paint job. This is pretty soft. I'm not too familiar with the Marvel Legends bodies that they use, but I can 100% guarantee that this is reused from some figure they've done before. I think the feet are some kind of new sculpt because they cut a portion of it out and then added these spikes, which are pretty solid. They're a little soft, but not too bad. I absolutely despise pins, and this is by no means a pinless figure. You can see, look at how gummy that is. That is absolutely ridiculous. The plastic's already cheap enough, and then they make this entire arm structure rely on this tiny little slab of plastic. And it's more rubber than plastic. So for articulation, he goes really far up because there's a hinge. Really far down. No side to side, like at all. Goes out that. Goes up pretty far, and then yeah, this whole arm is just pure gumminess. Double joint, so that's actually not even as good as some of the other ones I've seen, or the other two figures in this video already. There is a hinge. Same with this arm, extremely gummy. It's actually kind of insane how far back the butterfly joints go. Look at that. That's extremely far back, so that's really good articulation right there. But yeah, that does add a lot. You can't go back that much, forward that much, so that's really good. Swivel, of course, at the waist. Hinge. And then he can almost do the splits. Back that far. More fugly pins. Really good feet articulation for the most part. Can't go forward as much. And then there is actually a swivel. Not at the cuff there. The knees aren't as gummy. I'm trying to pose it and it doesn't even maintain its shape. It just like flexes and then goes back. I think this is a pretty cool figure aesthetically. Its articulation's pretty good for the most part. Obviously, it's not the most durable figure because of those pins, but I think it looks pretty cool. And I'd say it's a pretty nice pickup, but definitely do not pay over 20 bucks for this guy because the quality is definitely a disappointment. It is an older figure, but still. Last but possibly not least, the daughter of Electro. First looks out of box, you get this alternate pair of fist hands and these awesome electricity effects. So for the figure herself, looks pretty good in the face, pretty good printing. Overall, it seems like it's a commonly used base mold for women characters. She's got this kind of like half belt pocket thing molded on. It really sucks that there is no ab crunch. So for articulation, there is a ball in the neck, so she looks up that far, down that far, barely any side to side. Her arm reaches out that far. Double joint gets pretty far. Hinge at the hands. Same on this arm. Forward that much. Backward pretty far. And you got the swivel. Does the splits pretty good. Double joint, so it goes back pretty far. And then the foot has really good movement. It goes back that far, which is really far. And then forward that much. Swivel. Gets it around a lot, actually. No thigh cuts or cuff swivels. For the electrical effects, you stick her, you can see the clip right there. So you stick her hand through here, and then put the clip around her wrist. And then she can wield the electricity. This one is actually a different mold, but it goes in the same way. You can see the little clip. And these effects were actually reused for the MCU Electro. I actually like this figure a lot more than I thought I would. I do think we need an updated Max Dillon though, aka her dad. I've seen a lot of people online hoping for a re-release of the old Max Dillon retro card figure, which they might have actually already done, but for me that figure is just too outdated with the face print and the coloring and the pins. I just don't personally really care for that figure. But I definitely like this figure a lot more than I thought I would, so I definitely recommend picking her up. I think these are all pretty cool figures. The articulation isn't the greatest on all of them. They each have their own flaws, but I think overall they're pretty nice figures. Especially if you are like a hardcore Spider-Man fan and you want to collect all the Spider-Man villains. Looking at the Tarantula figure compared to the rest of them, you can really tell a difference between pins and pinless. Personally, I really don't like the look of pins. But outside of looks and aesthetics in general, you can just tell the quality is way worse than pinless figures. At least on the more normal size figures that have skinnier joints rather than, say, the big cardback Venom figure. But yes, I say these figures are definitely worth it. Definitely don't overpay for any of these, especially if you are a Spidey fanatic, which I know a lot of people are. So as always, thanks for watching. Happy hunting, and I'll see you in the next one.